Welcome once again to the Wolf Den, and I am Wolfman Scott. And today we're going to talk about an old scandal. In fact, it was the very first scandal in Hollywood, and it involved an actor comedian during the silent film era by the name of Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. And it all started in San Francisco, and that's where it ended, unfortunately, and his career would end with it. He wanted to road test his new Pierce Arrow, but would learn, sadly, that road trip would ultimately destroy him. So an actress named Virginia Rappe and her companion, a prostitute and extortionist named Maud Delmont, entered his room and the party. The party was in full swing, plenty of liquor, beer, and booze. During the course of the party, Virginia Rappe became ill. So she was taken to the bedroom to lie down. But in typical fashion, when she was heavily intoxicated, as she was that day, she was known for having screaming fits and tearing her clothes off. Arbuckle goes into that room, locking the door behind him because he needed to shower and change for an upcoming appointment. So as he exited the bathroom, he saw her on the floor, tearing her clothes off and screaming. So he moves her back on the bed, opens the door, and calls for help. This was on Labor Day weekend of 1921. So Maud Delmont swears up and down that Virginia told her that Roscoe Arbuckle raped her. She died a few days later of a ruptured bladder, and Arbuckle was arrested for murder and put on trial. After 4 separate trials, though, he was acquitted, but the damage had been done. During those trials that took over a year to complete, religious leaders began to damn the men in their sermons. Women campaigned for justice. And Hollywood had long since been accused of promoting sin and liquor. So they took a convenient target and decided to ruin the man's life. The prosecuting attorney was Matthew Brady, who was going to run for governor the following year. So he was willing to do anything to boost his name for that. But as I said, after 4 separate trials, he was acquitted, and a member of the jury said, "Acquittal isn't enough for you, Mr. Arbuckle, because a grave injustice was done against you." But Hollywood wasn't willing to bank on Arbuckle again, because people still had their own private opinions that he was guilty, even though he was found innocent and it was proven. In fact, Maud Delmont, during the course of the trial, sent telegrams to people she knew and said, "Oh, we got him. Our plan worked." Well, he was acquitted. He would direct films under the name William Goodrich. But finally, in 1932, he was invited to play in some speaking comedies. And after doing 3 of those movies, he signed a contract for a large sum of money in the millions. And at that party, he said, "Well, I must say, this is the greatest night of my life." But sadly, he died in his sleep of heart failure that same night. So, in this little reel I'm doing, let's remember how lies can ruin somebody's life who's done nothing wrong. And give a big shout for a legend, Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle.